Good evening, and I'd like to thank you for attending the Fallbrook Regional Health District Board of Directors meeting this May 10th. I am Barbara Moraz, Vice President. Our President, Mr.
Bill Leach.
Mr. Bill Leach is Mr. Bill is not. Mr. Bill Leach is not well tonight, and he has a throat issue, so he won't be able to communicate and talk, but he will be listening to our presentation of the meeting, and he will be attending our strategic planning meeting and all the other meetings in the near future. So we wish him well and hope that he has a speedy recovery. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And if you will, I'd like to begin with the roll call. Oh, do with the roll call, please. Yes.
Director Moran.
I am present.
Director Jeffries.
Here.
Director Stanislav.
Here.
Director Brown.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you will,
We have quorum.
thank you. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Looking at our agenda, approval of the agenda. Does any of our board members see anything they'd like to add or comment on to the agenda before we get started? Seeing no objections, we will see if the approval of the agenda is.
So we have a motion.
We have a motion to approve.
I move. So moved. I'll second. Thank you.
Okay.
Director Brown.
Aye.
Director Stanislav.
Aye.
Director Jeffries.
Aye.
Director Moran.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now with regard to public comments, do we have any members of the public on our video conference or in the audience that wish to take time to make a presentation, I mean, to speak at this time with commentary? Seeing none, hearing none. Okay, then we will move on to a presentation that we have scheduled for this evening. Our Fallbrook Senior Center is a grantee recipient of the Fallbrook Regional Healthcare District grants, and they have been a wonderful affiliate with us for a number of years now. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Fallbrook Senior Center Carmen Cervantes, Board President, and Nikki Williams.
Hi, if you'd like to play the video,
You ready?
it's a great time to do that. yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You share, yeah. You share. You share. Share.
Excuse me. I am. Okay, just one moment, please.
No, I want to go do that.
This is why we should keep this.
Or it's that way.
Yeah.
Well, we.
It does, huh? Makes you
And this is Carmen Cervantes. She's a fellow board member and a longtime senior center member. So thank you so much for having us here. And as you just saw in our video, our primary cause is the nutrition program. And what makes ours stand apart from other services in Fallbrook is that we prepare a hot meal every single morning, made fresh from scratch in our kitchen. And we are the only entity in this area that does that. We've been doing it for 40 years. And just over this past year, we served over 10,000 meals in the congregate setting next door to us at the community center, and over 22,000 hot meals delivered to the homebound seniors, and that was just this past year. And our meal program costs us a little over $400,000 a year. And breaking that down, we receive about $135,000 from the AIS, Aging and Independent Services, from the San Diego County Department of Health and Human Services. We charge seniors under 60 $10 for each meal, and we accept a suggested donation of $5 for those over 60, but do not require any donation for anybody over 60 or those enrolled in our home delivered program. And that income from those donations averages only about $35,000 a year. So from that leaves around $230,000 that we need to make up through fundraising and grants, like the one that we received from the Fallbrook Regional Health District. What you can't put a price on is the social aspect of the meal program. Senior loneliness and isolation are significant issues affecting the well-being of older adults. As people age, they often face a variety of challenges that contribute to the feelings of loneliness and isolation. And by attending social services or social activities on a regular basis, such as sitting down for lunch with other seniors, it's beneficial in several ways. Sharing meals together creates a sense of community, and regular social engagements creates a sense of structure and routine, and that helps reduce the risk of isolation, and helps seniors combat the feeling of loneliness too. And participating in our nutrition program exposes our seniors to a wider network of people and resources. They may become aware of support services, community programs, and healthcare resources. Like once in a while we have, or monthly we have a nurse come in, they do blood pressure checks. We have PAs come in and giving talks on nutrition, exercise, and other things. So, and it's important to note that while attending these activities can be beneficial, it's not the only solution. So we have other things. We need to address transportation barriers, intergenerational connections, mental health support, and we're striving to address all that at the center. So on behalf of the Fallbrook Senior Center, Board of Directors and staff, we'd like to thank you for the generous grant that will allow us to continue to have this program. And I believe Carmen had a couple things she wanted to go over, some of the activities that we have. As you saw, we have line dancing. We're doing that 2 times a week now. It's been so popular. So there's a beginners too. We have ukulele.
Actually, yeah, we have different activities. I have a calendar here that I can bring copies with me, but you're welcome to come by the office and take a copy of the activity sheet. Some of the things that we do is with some senior wellness exercises.
Chair yoga is a good example.
Right, and line dancing, and mastering line dancing, and Spanish class for the seniors, and the Spanish one and Spanish too. We did the Spanish one last year, and it went over very well. There was over 40, probably over 50 when we started. We ended up with about 25, between 25 and 30 by the end of the course last year. So we're starting it again. We just started last week, and both classes are pretty full so far. We just started, so we'll see. We also have social bridge, chair yoga, pool tournaments. There's a lot of things that we do within our office, and the pickleball that is played at across the street has been very big. We've had a tournament, and it turned out really nice. And this is one of the reasons that we want to keep on, especially with the meal program, because as you said, as the only time that a lot of seniors have to socialize And, I couldn't tell you how many seniors don't have other family members that live with them that, really enjoy that 1 hour, even if after they finish their lunch, we have the dining area until 12 o'clock, so they finish their lunch maybe 20-30 minutes earlier. They don't leave until 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because they want to enjoy that time that they have. Yeah, so it's very good to have.
And please come visit the thrift shop or make donations, because that's our daily fundraiser. And that's been really successful, and we're planning on expanding that, so.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, growing out the building a little bit, so
That's okay.
that'll be coming forward.
And,
All right, thank you.
and
Thank you.
it's one of the cheapest one in town.
Very nicely arranged too. I've been there, you've done a wonderful job with it, and it's just beautiful. It really is.
Thank you, we're working hard on it.
And you're set up as a 501(c)(3)?
Yes.
Their official name is the Fallbrook Senior
Citizen Service.
Club. But, so every now and again, you may see, we've tried to be consistent and call them the Fallbrook Senior Center, because that's how they'll do DBA essentially through the grants, more of an AKA, I should say. So you'll see that on your financials when that comes through.
Would you like to address the fact that there's a rumor going around that you're having a prom?
Right, we are, and I believe, do you know when they rescheduled it to, because it was delayed for some reason.
Yeah, it was delayed. I don't think we have a date yet, but, we are planning to have,
They're bringing back the senior prom in a whole
Right,
different
and
way.
that's one of those intergenerational activities that we're looking at.
I think that's a wonderful idea and a very fun film.
Mayor. So I just wanted to thank you for the thrift store, it's a beautiful thrift store, lovely things. But we had need for a walker, a transport chair, and a wheelchair all at once in our household. And nobody rents them here. We thought we would go and rent it. I got word, go there, and you all had all three of those things right there.
Yes.
We used them for 10 days and then we were able to bring them back. It's kind of a co-op-y thing.
yeah.
And I just so appreciated it because we were getting ready to drive to Escondido or Temecula to rent, at 125 whatever.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the multiple things you
Yeah,
do.
people don't realize that we have the medical equipment.
It's
Like, well,
fantastic.
we get caregivers that come in just to buy, the chuck pads that go under patients that they may be caring for, or gloves, cleaning products, things that they may need that some of these caregivers are taking it out of their own pocket to buy extra supplies. So
Right.
rather than getting at the grocery store or adult garments, for the bed bound.
Yes.
So we can resell, it's packages that have been donated, but we can resell them for much less than we can get in the
Absolutely.
store.
Oh, so appreciated.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the presentation.
Stuff.
Proud to be affiliated with you.
And we have the one public comment.
At this time, we do have one public comment, and the gentleman who wishes to speak, would you like to stand and introduce yourself?
Thank you. I'll also take the liberty of reading. I'm better reading than I am off the cuff. I have a copy for you as well.
And you are?
My name is Tim O'Leary. I've been a taxpayer in the district since 2003. And I want to thank you for having the courage to purchase the defunct St. Stephen's Lutheran Church, and for your efforts to turn it into a vibrant health center for our region. Sadly, your agency was faced with many challenges, as was the community when the hospital closed. And the service plan you've crafted, I think, is a noble effort. I'm currently attending my 4th program at the Wellness Center. And I think it's become a key resource for our isolated, unincorporated community that has so many needs and so few volunteers. The other day, I stopped by one of your informative community awareness sessions. And there I crossed paths with Jack Scherner, who's a friend and he's a member of the Senior Center Governing Board. I served on that board many years ago. But at today's Senior Center Board meeting, Jack talked about efforts that he sort of initiated at that awareness session to create new linkages between the senior center and your agency and the wellness center. I guess I'm here to urge you to move as fast and as far as possible in that effort. Many people don't realize it or have really researched it very much. The senior center in its effort to decide where do we go from here, I had a nonprofit consultant help them with sort of a plan, a moving forward plan, and a report prepared for the senior center. It recently noted that about 24% of the nearly 50,000 residents of the greater Fallbrook area are over age 65. And that's just a drop in the bucket as to what's going to happen in the future as this area becomes less affordable and we attract fewer families. And the school district's population continues to decline. The report cites Sandag data that predicts that the population of adults in this region in the age range 75 to 79 will increase by over 41% by 2030 and 2050. Ages 80 to 84 by 98% in that period, and by ages 85 and older by 149%. And this is Sandag data. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The boomers are continuing.
They're booming.
That's right.
Silver tsunami.
That's right, the silver tsunami. And I think we've done a wonderful job in Fallbrook. I've lived here 23 years and I can see the changes and it's phenomenal. The senior center alone has grown from a small little place that used to facilitate a little bit of a activity now and then in the meal program, and it's just blossomed. The same thing as our Foundation for Senior Care. And there's no doubt that the increase in seniors is going to continue to increase. It's just do the numbers, do the math. The boomers aren't going away. They're just getting a little older. So, okay, moving forward on consent items. Do we have any comments with regard to the consent items for the agenda for the minutes of the finance meeting, the special grants board meeting, our board of directors meeting, the facilities committee, government and public engagement, and the ratified transfer of monies from Pacific Western to LAFE account? Is there any comments on those items? Consent item? Okay. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent items?
I would make a motion that we approve items E1, E2, E3, E4, and E5. And then we'll say E6 for a separate motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
Have somebody else second.
Oh, okay, very good.
As serving as chair, it's usually better to let one of them. I know you're used to.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
Director Morales,
Aye.
Director Jeffrey,
Aye.
Director Stanisek,
Aye.
Director Brown.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's moving forward.
And with regard to, if I may, with regard to consent item E6, since that was part of the finance committee, I'd like to make a motion that the board approve and ratify the transfer of the $901,000 from Pacific Western Bank to our LAFE account. And once it's on the table, if you want to talk about why we did all that, Rachel, you can.
Do I have a motion?
You have the motion, you need a second.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay,
Thank you. Director Brown.
Wait, let's go into discussion. We'll discuss and then we'll
Very well.
vote. So the reason that we did that transfer and we're doing a ratification instead of making it a board movement, Pacific Western Bank is operated by PacWest Corp. If you've been following the finance news, you'll know that last week there was the Fed stopped trading on that corp. So we felt it was prudent to make sure that the district's main operating account was below the FDIC threshold. So we did this transfer. Remember, we had this conversation last month. We were in the process of getting ready for a new account. So this just had to be moved forward. Otherwise, we would have brought this recommendation to this meeting, but I discussed it with our board chair and our treasurer prior to trying to make this move, and then Barbara, obviously, we had to call you in to help make the call to do that transfer. So that was the information behind the transfer.
And it wasn't like we just happened to have a whole bunch of cash hanging around. We just happened to get paid right then by the county, so we needed to get that money.
It was a
out.
very intelligent and wise move to do this, and it was for deep consideration for our financial standing. We are consciously aware of the volatile financial market right now, and we're doing everything we can to keep an eye on it so that we don't get caught off guard. And this was a very wise thing to do to protect us. So we do have our finances strategically placed, and we are solid. So there's no need to worry about that. It's just that we're always thinking ahead just in case, which is how we got to where we have this amount of money to work with to begin with. So thank you all for your participation in that very strategic and wise move on our behalf.
And also to that end, we've taken the steps to establish a relationship with Five Star Bank, which we will be using to take any excess funds that we have over the FDIC limit, and we can transfer back and forth easily to cover bills and things like that.
The 4 times a year that we do the grant checks are usually when there's a large money that's in and out. So we wanted to make sure we had another easy operating level account. No checks will be written out of Five Star. The idea is monies go to and from primarily just for those operations. So it's clearly visible to our finance.
You bet.
Right. Okay.
Do a roll call?
Director Morales.
Aye.
Director Jeffrey.
Aye.
Director Stanislav.
Aye.
Director Brown.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving ahead to item F, reports and possible action. We're going to continue on with the finance arena, and our finance committee directors Brown and Jeffries, would you like to present us with your input?
I will be happy to do that. So the treasurer's report for the month of March, covering the period March and February. Report number 1, the balance sheet comparison of February versus March. Total liabilities and equity for March were $12,367,032 versus February $11,786,542, an increase of $580,490. Report number 2, the income statement. A total net income for the month of March is positive at $621,609, and this is due in large part to a larger than expected property tax apportionment in March. Report number 3, the profit and loss actual versus budget. Based on the approved budget, the district is over budget in year-to-date net income by $532,726. And again, this is in large part due to the larger than expected property tax apportionment. Report number 4, the approved annual budget for 2022-23 fiscal year. This is the district's 2022-23 approved annual budget, and there are no changes to report on this particular statement. Report number 5. This is our LAIF account statement, and LAIF posted no dollars in quarterly interest earnings, in that it is not the quarterly end. The cost value is $2,484,586 with a fair market value of $2,451,069. The performance rate for the month of March was 2.831%. Report number 6. The Cal Trust account statement, cost basis for this account is $5,800,802. The district earned $16,022 in dividend income for this month, and an unrealized gain of $57,687, bringing the portfolio's total value to $5,657,851. As of March 2023, the one-year yield on the medium-term fund where these funds are allocated was 1.95%. Report 7. The property tax revenue district accrued a tax apportionment of $692,696.24 for March. Report number 8. The check detail report. This report details the operating accounts, deposits, and disbursements for the district for March. The finance committee reviewed those, and we had no unresolved questions or issues. Report number 9, visa statement. This report lists the charges made using the district's credit card for the month of March. The committee reviewed the transactions, and there were no outstanding questions. Report number 10. The Community Investment Funds report for March. This report shows utilized funds invested in the district's real estate, primarily for the redevelopment of the Community Health and Wellness Center, including maintenance, repairs, permits, and consultants. For the third quarter, there was $71,302.72 spent. We do not recommend a transfer necessary on this particular cycle, as we've done that already. All right. And in closing disclosures, the investments of the district are in compliance with the district's 2022-23 investment policy. The balances in the district's investment accounts give the district the ability to meet its expenditure requirements for the next 18 months. Okay. In addition, the committee did review the proposed draft of the 2022-23 operating plan, and we'll be talking about that later on. Okay. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right. Facilities Committee, Directors Jeffries and Ross.
Thank you.
Director Jeffries, would you like to take it away?
Yes, Chair, thank you so much. Updates are in the minutes, but I do want to call particular attention to the parking lot renovation item, because that was a very, very active conversation. So I'll sum it up by saying this: there are many intersections related to the parking lot. There's parking lighting, which we want to make sure we do well, safety first. There's going to be the location of the electrical box, because parking lights need electricity. We're going to be looking at the preliminary infrastructure for the solar installation, so that we don't have to go back in and rip the parking lot up in order to install the solar. So between Mr. Musa and Barbara and me and Rachel, I think we identified the accumulated knowledge that we need before going forward with anything. And Rachel, looks like Mr. Holmes is going to be continuing to do some specifics for us.
Yeah, so he'll stay as essentially our consultant to make sure that when we get into road, street paving, all of that, that our scope is correct, so that when Jeff puts together the bid packages, that we've got all the correct measurements and quantity type and layout and such.
Very good. He's familiar with asphalt.
Yeah.
He helped us with our parking lot here. And I won't steal Rachel's thunder, but Facilities Committee will be having a visitation from a solar provider, I believe.
Yeah,
That's
they
correct.
do actually much more. They're an infrastructure group that would be able to help us identify how to put all those pieces together. And then their niche component is that they also can bring some funding opportunities from the Federal Inflation Reduction Act and or different state programs. So instead of us trying to find those on our own or missing those opportunities, they bring that in as part of their services. So we're having them present at the upcoming facilities meeting.
And all other items down at the Wellness Center are in progress. Everything's going smoothly down there in terms of facilities. So that's my report. Barbara, did you have anything else to add as a member of the committee?
Now, I was just going to have Rachel comment with regard to, we're moving with facilities and it's an ongoing process. And most recently, we did have our forum over at the Wellness Center Thursday of last week and Saturday. And I attended Thursday, and it was a very nice setup and presentation. I'm just, I was hoping that more people would come, but being the time frame that it was, it probably contradicted people's travel plans home from work or meal time with the family, etc. So Saturday, I believe you had,
We'll debrief on that a little later on the agenda.
but the need definitely the forum definitely underscores the need for the necessity of more community outreach to get them being our community members aware of what we do and how we do it, and it's an available resource for them. So we are working on that as we go. So with regard to strategic planning, Director Leach is out this evening. With regard to strategic planning, I know we are having more meetings coming up.
Right.
I don't even think we had one last month, did we?
We canceled that one.
That's why I have the board and did I
Yeah.
miss something?
Yeah, we canceled that meeting. The May 20th special meeting is really more of a strategic planning workshop. So a lot of the agenda formation for that meeting has been what we've been discussing, the understanding and potential revamping of our grants program, making sure that we have a little bit more of a coordinated understanding of all the different programming going on at the center. And then just looking at the district's mission, vision, and values conversation. Those are the primary topics that we'll bring forward to that meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Musa, would you like to contribute anything with regard to the properties over there at the Wellness Center, as far as observations or comments?
No.
So far, that means we're good.
We are
because
good.
We are on
Everything's
track,
moving
we're
forward.
ticking off the boxes and we're moving forward. This is a
Exactly.
good thing, so this is a good thing. It feels like we're making momentum. It just seems like it took a long time to start getting up to speed, after the COVID thing. Okay, thank you very much. Moving forward with government and public engagement, Director Stanek and Director Leach, of course, is absent. So Director Stanek, would you like to give us a little input?
Yeah, we had a great meeting last month or a couple weeks ago, lost track of time. But, we spent a lot of time talking through vision, mission, values. Spent some time working with the staff to throw some ideas out there to see really what we're doing and how we're going to do it going forward and leading up to the strategic planning. And we had some, I think some really good discussions. We've got a good place to start and we can start working through that and continue polishing that up. Spend some time talk about the Samuel Tough boy, something's wrong here. I think I'm all right. I had a bit of an I'm having trouble talking.
Are you okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, just give me a minute.
okay,
I had a little bit of a migraine issue earlier today.
okay.
Okay,
We're
Do you
with
want any
you.
more water?
I'm okay.
You want something stronger than water?
Good laugh.
Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, sorry about that. So we had some good discussion there. We'll talk about the community outreach. Boy, I think I'm gonna have to pay a minute here.
Okay.
Got a little trouble talking.
So
Keep an eye on me, please.
we will.
I'm watching you.
Relax, drop your shoulders. Take a deep
We're
breath.
good. Yeah, we're good.
So our meeting, we also, besides talking about mission, vision, and values, we talked about the edits to the new position. The edits that were brought forward at the last board meeting, making sure that we're capturing the metrics of the various activities, making sure that we're building into that position that they are reviewing the grantee acknowledgements to make sure that that is brought forward, as well as working to put together a more collaborative set of messaging around how the grants and the nonprofits are working together. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, want to make sure I captured
Yep.
the rest of
Thank
that conversation.
Any other commentary with regard to the government public engagement?
Do you wanna? Okay. There we go.
All right, well, I guess it's time to fill you in on what's happening at the Community Health and Wellness Center. We are continuing to be busy and bring on new programming. So, in April, we had a total of 88 events. Remember, that's both public, 71, and private, 17, private clubs or groups hosting, things there. May had a total of 104 events. And we had a record-breaking event just in the last couple of weeks. We ran out of parking spaces. So we now have signage up to direct people to the field down below when we're that busy. There was 4 events going on, a little bit of overlap, and we were maxed out.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was it was a little like, whoa, but it was good. It was really good to see. And in terms of, and a lot of this data that is further on in my report is from the month of March. We had 963 visits to the center in March. So we're continuing to see more utilization. So that's great. We have our community resource navigator, and she's doing fantastic. She's coming kind of toward the end of her training period. She's seen about 20 clients so far. The cases tend to be a little bit complicated. Some big needs out there. Which is wonderful to be able to serve. The other part of that position is that it's helping us develop a lot deeper ties with members in our community, with relationships with the county and other organizations overall. Because we have something new to offer, and as we're looking for those resources to provide our community, we're getting our name out there. And so that's been huge. So we've been busy with, just a lot of getting to know these resources and getting that together. The diabetes prevention program has launched, and it is really quite successful. Our final group will have over 20 participants in it. And we had another over 20 people that either didn't qualify, weren't ready for it, and we're continuing to get interest in the program. So that has been really wonderful. There's another component with the diabetes prevention program that's quite positive, and that's the development of a physician referral program. So as part of that, we were able to get out there, do lunch and learns with medical offices, and start to get to know how they function, which is a benefit not just for this program, but as we look at other programming where a physician can refer to, such as, programs for heart health or for arthritis. We're building that mechanism. If you go on our website, you can see there is a physician referral page, and all the information is up on there, and we have received physician referrals. So it is working with that. So one of the pieces of feedback I got from a lot of the offices is, what are you doing for people with active diabetes? What we really need is a self-management class. So I think that's something, in the future that would add to that, program and make it very full. That we can help with pre-diabetes and active diabetes support.
But we do need to also let folks know that the food pantry is working on some diabetes education. So we're not just leaving those folks hanging for
Right.
now. We do at least have the ability to refer them over to our partner, even if we know that we'll need more in-depth. So
Yeah, as we're doing so much marketing, we're looking at ourselves as kind of like the clearinghouse. Like if someone comes in and that program that the food pantry offers is a better fit than what we have to offer, then we're referring them. We've made many referrals to the food pantry. The program that's helping us with the training, also we can refer them back to them, and they will have classes that start at different, at different dates. So we're starting to know what's happening in the different offices, so we can even make a recommendation if someone wanted a physician group that provided more support in that area. So we're trying to be all inclusive, and the group that we're working with is wanting to use us as a case study. There's a lot of interest out there regarding community organization and what role they can play in kind of like the diabetes, epidemic that's, facing the country. So that we are gathering an extra level of data to be prepared, to prepare them, for being able to write us up as a case study. So I thought that was quite positive. In terms of some of the new programming that's come, the end of last month and this month, we have Qigong. Hope Clinic has been running a men's support group, as well as some childbirth classes. They don't have enough space in their facility for some, for these larger groups. We have a children's art class that's provided through the Fallbrook Art Association. And even though it is open during the day, it's actually serving a lot of homeschool families. So we had a pretty good turnout for the very first one. That's once a month. We have some mindfulness and meditation classes starting. We have 2 new support groups that are provided by Palomar Family Counseling, one on connecting and one on setting boundaries. So those just started, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on social media regarding both of those topics. I have been trying to secure a past Google Analytics account that looked like it was active on our website. I was not able to track it down after many attempts. So we have a new Google Analytics, so we'll get some extra, data coming in on our engagement with the public. And it just got set up, so it's kind of fun. I checked to make sure it was working. And so today we've had over 107 visits to our website.
Wow.
So, so it'll be good to have that extra level of detail.
We were just saying it might have been a lot of us too.
If you're logged in, no, it won't have, like,
If we're logged into work.
if you're in Streamline signed in, that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Then it won't count you.
Yeah. That's kind of the.
No padding the
The
members.
workaround there. Yeah. I'm sure with the meeting,
Yeah.
with some of us, all of us on there, but it's kind of fun to have that information. So, and just another note, we do supply San Marcos School of Nursing with their supplies to do testing when they're at the food pantry, when they're at the senior center. So we are putting together, we've made little flyers so that the nursing students are really good about keeping the records so people can see them the next time. But we've provided a form that they can take home with them in English and in Spanish so that they can keep track, and know what their results were, and has our branding on it too. So it's another way to show how we're supporting the community. So that's, a lot of what's happening out there. I've included the other social media and wellness center events in the report. I guess, thing to notice is on where I do the visits. Remember, these are not people that visits to the center. We don't have the ability to track individuals, although I would love that. I did break it up a little differently so that you can see how many visits there are for support groups, partner wellness activities, so a different breakdown with that data, as well as showing, like how many of the events are held by our grantees. So you can see that extra layer of support we're providing for grantees. So lots of good stuff there. Then I just wanted to take a minute and just kind of like going into the strategic planning, give you a little bit of background on how we arrived at the programming that we have and what we're using for our goals. And that goes back to Catalyst and information from all their research in the community needs assessment, that then this past year, the board in strategic planning came up with our plan for the year. So so some of the things that was called out as our goals, what we've taken on was, of course, the third one down there, the diabetes education program. So for targeting pre-diabetes, it says for one of the objectives, it's a referral pipeline, which is being built. We're keeping all the data for a good pilot. So those things are being done, and that's how we arrived at putting so much effort into that program as it was called out and given to us as a goal. The next one, so I guess like the fourth one down, talks about providing no less than 3 ongoing programs that meet the social determinants of health by the end of the year. So we're working hard on that. So we expanded the mental health first aid modules as it says under the objectives. So if you go on our website, you can see we have this month, mental health for older adults. We are gonna have adults working with children. We have one for veterans and families. We've been doing them. Next month will be the second one we've done for healthcare workers. So we're supporting again those San Marcos student nurses with the training as well as our medical community. We had a financial literacy program and we're working on expanding that. It's one of our Wellness Wednesdays. So then there's a couple other, and then the mindfulness program is in the works. So this is where we're getting our direction. Then some of it's low hanging fruit, like being able to do the health screenings because of the relationships that we have, or partners that, are using the space and wanting to provide their programs. So if you go on to the next page, there's one other part where it talks about FRHD organizations and operations. And one of the goals is to design 2 signature community events to be held at the center. And we are working on the one for families and children for September 30th. That is underway. And then for 2024, we'll work on that women's event that it calls out there. But that's where we're taking a lot of our direction from. And I just wanted you guys to know that and have an understanding of how we're arriving at where we are. There's a lot of thought and we're really following that catalyst sort of roadmap. So did it make it into the packet? Okay, so then we don't have to go over all this, but these are the little sheets that are in your packet about these different programs that Catalyst put together. So the diabetes was called out by them. And then hopefully in the future, a self-management diabetes program, mental health first aid, community-based arts was one, which we kind of started now with the arts program for children. The mindfulness that's underway. So these are great references to see all the determinants of social health that hits and like little nice recaps. They're all evidence-based programs. And so it gives some of the outcomes and what to expect and what it takes for us to put on those programs. So it's a really, really nice resource. So I think that's what I got.
So basically, you're using outside sources and resources to help implement some of these programs. Are you finding pretty good access to resources, nurses, professionals, trainers?
Mm-hmm. So far we have, mental health first aid was wonderful because that's a county program. So
It's
that
a
was
county
the
supported program. It's actually a national program.
Yeah. Mental health first aid is a national program. The county supports the local chapter of that organization. So they're able to provide the trainers. In terms of the nurses, that's San Marcos School of Nursing. We've had that relationship with them, so that's been wonderful. Being part of this Skinny Jeans test run through the county has been very helpful in establishing it. But I think as we move forward, we're probably gonna look at more serious programming and how we fit that into the budget, because we'll probably run out of the resources that are available at little to no cost.
Also, like, for example, on our diabetes program, which I think is awesome. Are we able to have access to like registered dietitians and people like that who would, to my mind, be excellent resources and trainers and presenters on that particular service?
Yeah, as we go through the year, this is a year-long program, certain modules do call out those, and we are working on establishing those relationships. Like, I think one time, we'll have to reach out to like a diabetes manufacturer, insulin pump manufacturer and different things and dietitians. So far, it's been good.
So like, the Diabetes Association, I would think that they would be a resource for us
Yeah.
too.
We actually have the potential to have an intern through Skinny Jeans that has that is finishing up school as a dietitian.
Mhm.
So, and she, if everything works out, she might be, helping out at the meetings, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, keep in mind, the
Great.
DPP program is a diabetes prevention program, it's not a management program. We are still continuing to research the management program. Through the DPP, we'll also have to at some point figure out, how to manage some of the blood draw pieces. For all of those folks who have their own insurance, they can do a lab core or something like that for each their primary. For those other physicians, other patients, we may have to, contract to have a potential mobile phlebotomist come out. Those are the things that we're still working on.
So those are the things that I would expect us as a district to be the referral source on. You know, we ought to be the clearinghouse on things that we cannot do, or we know that are available out there. So, I would see the Health and Wellness Center being a good place to be that resource to direct people to services that we can't provide or don't intend to provide. One of the things, my personal pet, Alzheimer's care, and I don't see that we've ever really had an active program of helping train caregivers, particularly spouses who are dealing newly with Alzheimer's diagnosed people. And I'm gonna bring that to our planning session, and
Yeah.
strategic planning. That's an integral part, I think, of
That's a good one.
what
Well,
we
and
could
We
be doing.
do think a little bit alike, because I actually just met with a representative from Alzheimer's San Diego just yesterday, and we were
Okay.
discussing that very thing, where it would be a two-part series, where one would be about how to communicate, with someone that's, having those challenges, and then another part for the active caregiving, the more physical part of it.
It's called managing difficult
Yeah.
behavior is what it is.
Yeah, so we would entail both parts, also the physical nature sometimes of caregiving, of assisting someone. So, yeah, we were just, talking about that.
You have my full support on that particular subject. Okay.
Okay, moving along, we've already communicated with Teresa with regard to Community Health and Wellness Center, and now our Chief Executive Officer, Rachel, what's happening?
I love the fact that by the time we get to me, we've already talked about everything. So so I had speaking of facilities, I spoke with a vendor by the name of Site Logic regarding infrastructure upgrades. They could potentially come forward and bring all the support services so that we have our ADA compliance to the house, which has some significant challenges and will require architect through construction. The parking lot, which we already discussed, that solar component. So we'll be bringing that to the next facilities committee. So that should be very exciting to see what that looks like. It's not moving as fast, but it is moving. All right. Okay, community health community health contract grants. The final distribution of the fiscal year 22-23 grants were dispersed primarily last week. I think we have a couple of grantees left to pick up. The final impact report for the current fiscal year will be due in July. That will allow all of our grantees to finish out their year and get us their final report. The July board meeting will be our first check distribution for the upcoming fiscal 23-24. We're gonna go back some old school style and have the big check and have a nice little presentation. So those of you who were awarded grant funding again this year, just know there will be a nice little shindig for that, and there will be lots and lots of photo opportunities for everyone's social media and presentations. We'll make sure that the media is there, right, Rick? Monroe, Village News on Zoom. Moving on, sorry, Rick, throw you under the bus, administrative process. So we have been we've been in conversation with the Mission Resource Conservation District for about a year as they look forward to potentially selling their property. They have a very small staff, and the building they were in was not, really didn't fit what they needed. We have the empty suite upstairs, so there is conversation regarding a sublease of that space to them. What's nice about that is you would have, 2 special districts in one building, so better use of property taxes. That is still pending, obviously, sale of their property. That sublease is part of the conversation that will go through facilities, so that's on facilities to review and see what that looks like as well.
So we're talking about the upstairs section of this particular building?
Correct,
Okay. We own this building?
correct.
It would not be a sublease then, it would be a flat lease.
I mean, a flat lease, yes. We're subbing to them, or they're subbing with us. They're leasing from us.
They're leasing from us
From
because
us.
we are the landlords and they will be the tenants. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good.
We are still working with Jeff Scott on updating our district policy manual. It had a lot of ancient history in it, so we're trying to figure out where we need to start from scratch. Much like we did with the employee manual in 2020, we're gonna make sure that it's current. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of communication policies and different things, so you'll see some changes coming to that. Your strategic planning workshop is on the 20th, and again, the agenda items for that are mission, vision, values, community health and wellness center programming summary, which will be mostly broken down from what we're currently doing, what's about to launch, and then those things that we would like to see. That way we can have some prioritization to fit in there. As Teresa mentioned, the current strategic plan really called out those things from Catalyst, but we want to make sure that we're not doing some random shotgun kind of thing, and we're going at it methodically. Then also there's been a lot of interest in re-engaging in our grant process and protocols, including grant to revenue proportion, expectations of service provisions on geographic components, as well as making sure all demographics are being offered services. And then a final component which builds out of both which is moving potential partners from the grants to the MOUs. A couple of them have been Michelle's Place, Palomar Family, and Foundation for Senior Care. For some of those programs, there's been interest in having a little bit more in-depth with them. So I've already met with a couple of the groups. We'll do a little bit more. We'll bring that forward. Again, something to consider is we would start those conversations now. They would not likely happen until the fiscal year 24-25 for some of them, because of the way the grants are structured right now. Some could start earlier depending on the services, but basically bringing that forward so that we have a little bit more clarity on what the board wants to prioritize for that as well. And I'm pretty sure that was all my stuff too. Did I forget anything?
Is there anything outstanding with regard to the, our urgent care relationship and the contract documents that were all executed and payments made and all that kind of stuff?
Yep, everything is in order with that sale process going through.
Okay. And we expect that in a year's time, we'll be able to
Yeah,
end our relationship.
the end of March 2024, the sale will be complete. And that business will be completely separated from the district.
Okay. All right, moving on to item G, discussion, possible action items, debrief of community forums.
Actually, I'm gonna jump to F7, which is General Counsel Jeff Scott. I think we sent you something in the mail, but Jeff just sent a quick memo. It was relevant because we're talking so much about social media and understanding how you as a board member and how you communicate to the public. Essentially, if you have a personal social media account, and you are responding as though you are a board member for the health district, all of those communications follow the same guidelines here. You can't block people, even if they are saying nasty things to you, right? You are an elected official. So I would just simply refer you back to his memo that you'll receive if you haven't already had a chance to look at it. Obviously, there's a lot of litigation going around as this is new territory. But essentially, what it basically means is that if you are representing yourself in the public sphere as an elected board member, then you know those same rules govern your speech as they would in this room. That's a lot shorter than probably what Jeff would have said. Don't tell him I said that. So anyway, I would refer you back to just reading his memo just as guidance. I'm sure there will be more of that as some of those court cases get resolved. I'm sure that he'll bring those forward, but he just wanted to get it onto your radar.
As far as email, we should not be using our personal email accounts
You're
to
right.
conduct any district business at all.
Absolutely,
And if we're gonna do district business, we have email accounts, and that's what we
That's
should
right.
be using.
absolutely.
And there is a policy and procedure for communications to the press with regard to public statements, or statements to the public from the board of directors. There is a policy and procedure, and it always goes to a referral process through our CEO.
Correct.
So we have to resist the urge to contact the press and tell them how we feel,
We have,
because there's
we
a
have to keep
process.
from having an opinion. but
Yes,
we
we
want
have to do
express
this diplomatically
Yes,
and carefully. We want to protect all interest parties, everybody, but there's a policy and procedure that we have adhered to for many years, and it's worked very well. It really has. We have not had black eyes in the many years that I've been on the board. And I have to say that it's because we do take into consideration the feedback from the community. And we want to get the message out. We want it to get out appropriately with the consensus of all the board members. So
That's
it's
what
not
we have an executive director.
exactly,
There
that's
you
what Rachel is here for, and she does an excellent job. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
that. Okay, should we move on? Okay, so the debrief of the community forums, do we want to talk about that or just move that on to? First, I have to say, the setup was beautiful. Everything was done very, very well. I just wished I could have, said free beer,
In moderation.
in moderation, but, I do think that the time slot might have been a factor. The fact it was on a weekday and it was that dinner hour, that traffic time after work kind of thing, and that can kind of slip up somebody's schedule if they wanted to go to an event afterwards. But Saturday, again, it was a kind of a slow turnout, and so we'll be working on addressing that. Rachel can comment on that.
Absolutely. The team did an amazing job making sure that the
Yes.
property was welcoming. We have a lot of good information that we prepped to put forward to that we'll bring forward. Lots of advertising around it. So we did a Thursday evening. It was indicated to us that evenings give us
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
If you look around town, trying to find an evening that isn't chock full of chambers events or this is events, Thursdays are generally it. Maybe we should have had beer or wine, but that's not really the point. And then Saturday's event, again, same thing. It's tough to capture people's times.
The way we're gonna capture the community's imagination and hearts are our activities.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna be a generalized, come and talk to us. So we are doing what's going to get them there. And they are getting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we're doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the community forums overall, we've received some general feedback. We're continuing to talk. What we're basically seeing is people are interested in the programmings that we're bringing forward. They're looking forward to seeing more. I appreciate Mr. O'Leary's comments. We're seeing similar feedback. People are excited about watching the growth of programming out there. So I would say that's the debrief of the public forum.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to G2, review of the fiscal year 2024 budget.
We won't really show this up on the screen because you wouldn't be able to see
But
it.
it's real, it's here.
But it will be on board packets and notes and such. So this was put forward to the finance committee. We had a couple of small, one small edit that had to do with office expenses that would be expensed out instead of having them on the budget. So that was the only change you saw from the recommendation from the finance committee. So I'll pass that back to the treasurer if he has any questions or.
I'm good.
I'm a little shy about asking this question. I'm pretty good at reading budgets. I cannot find where the bulk of salaries are located. Can somebody help me?
There are two different salary areas under admin. If you go to payroll expenses, salary is under there.
Here. And the flip side, on the back, there's one.
Employee benefits, salaries. 36,000 doesn't sound like a lot, that's because it's not. Well, where's the rest of it? Right there.
It's hidden.
This is, these are the months.
Gotcha. Like I said, I was a little shy to ask this question. Okay, now I'm reading it.
So there,
I'm reading it.
And
I got
then-
it, I got it.
okay.
I got it. I had fixated to the left and now I'm going to the right. Okay, thank you. Now I see it right there.
Okay,
$500,000.
We've all turned into volunteers.
yeah.
Yeah,
This building's gonna be empty if I don't get some paychecks. So,
I was gonna go, where are we at?
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this also reflects the conversation that we've had around upgrading our chart of accounts.
Right.
So that we're more consistent with a program operating and not just a grant funding, so,
And this includes the recently approved communications position.
correct.
Okay. And this includes projected allocation for the North County Fire MOU.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah, 2 of the 3 grants.
2 of the 3.
Right.
Okay. Looks good.
I'm good.
It still looks good. It looked good in
Okay.
finance. It looks good now.
Okay,
Is there any further discussion with regard to the proposal? So do we have a motion to,
that's, I
We
would
need a
ask for the
motion?
motion, yeah.
I would like to ask for a motion to approve this draft budget for the budget of fiscal year 2023 to 2000.
I'll make the motion that we approve the 2023-24 budget as proposed.
And I will second that.
Thank you. Okay,
Director Morales,
aye.
Director Jeffrey,
Aye.
Director Stevens,
Aye.
Director Brown,
Aye.
thank you.
Any further comment with regard to that particular matter? Okay,
Thank you all. It's
hearing
nice
none.
to
you
have
for
that
all your
ready
hard
in
work.
advance.
Yes,
We
good
are not
job.
the federal government or the state.
Doesn't help us.
That's as political as I get, I promise,
On time,
in this room.
early even.
Okay, moving on to item number H, board member comments and items for subsequent meetings. Any comments with regard to what is proposed for our upcoming facilities or strategic planning, the workshop? Any,
No, but I have comments about other things when we're ready.
okay, that's good. I think that it's wonderful to know that this is all scheduled and it's going to be on the calendar. We have a facilities committee meeting coming up on May 17th at 2 p.m. and the strategic planning on the 3rd Wednesday, May 17th at 5:30. That's a double-decker day.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, this is going to be a biggie, will be a strategic planning workshop on Saturday, May 20th from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Our government and public engagement committee will be on the 4th Wednesday, May 24th at 5:30 p.m. and the district office will be closed for Memorial Day, which will be May 29th in honor of observation of Memorial Day. The next finance committee will be the first Wednesday, June 7th at 4:30, and the next board of directors meeting will be the second Wednesday in June 14th at 6 p.m. Any other further comments or items?
Yes, please.
Jennifer,
Thank you
please.
so much. Well, I know Roy and Roger and I and Rachel and Teresa and Judith were at the Fallbrook Revitalization meeting today with Jim Desmond. These were instituted about 4 years ago. So Jim brings himself and he brings his tribe, the people that are working on issues near and dear to Fallbrook's heart. It's sponsored by the Fallbrook Chamber. And we have 3 subcommittees that are working on urgent and chronic issues in our town. I just wanted to give a little update on something here. So one of our areas of concern and ongoing conversation is homelessness in our town. And we heard today that the Sheriff's Office and the Health and Human Resources Division at the county continue to partner on various ways to help people know there's a better way to have your life. And they do a lot of outreach, they do a lot of conversation with people who are homeless, and they recently had a very big victory, our Pico Promenade. Some of you may not know about it. It's a lovely promenade that leads to the Major Market Shopping Center. Unfortunately, it has become a favorite place for our homeless individuals and causing great concern. But 2 of the more entrenched individuals have actually agreed to go to transitional housing.
Were those the folks that were housed over in the El Jardine? In the garden restaurant?
With the baby grand piano.
Yeah.
I thought those were the folks in the old McDonald's, but anyway, I don't know whether they are or not, but they were Pico Promenade folks.
Okay.
And this is considered once a few people start going, follow. And so we also have a transitional house in Fallbrook that has had great success with homeless population. So good. Transportation is on the agenda all the time. Jim and his staff got a bus stop for the food pantry.
Yeah.
That is a major victory because the food pantry location, when the need is over here, what's the heck there? So that's a good thing, movement there. Infrastructure for revitalization of downtown, the median and what they call the bump curbs, which are designed to slow traffic down on Main or those are all in the works. They're going to be showing themselves soon. In addition, we have a new lieutenant, Lieutenant Claudia Delgado, who is the lead leader at our sheriff's substation. She was introduced, seems to be quite a nice person, but also quite with it. She gave a short report. And then there was a considerable amount of conversation around a teen center. Fallbrook Boys and Girls Club are working together with other entities to see if we can get a really state-of-the-art teen center for basically middle school to 15-year-olds before you get a licensed place to have a good time. But that raised another issue, which is the area where the teen center may go is next to the Boys and Girls Club, which is that big baseball field there, although we still need baseball fields. But there's another piece of property that's kind of hidden between Alvarado and the Boys and Girls Club. The county is in negotiations for, I heard 40 units, a 40-unit affordable senior housing. Because the next big wave of homelessness is going to be people over 65. That's the growing demographic for homelessness. So that sounds very, very hopeful. Jim did mention in a low voice that there's another property that is also being looked at for additional affordable housing for seniors. So there could be kind of a nice mix between a teen center and a senior housing area. But all this to say to my friends in the room, there's such activity going on with urgency, with intent, and with good spirit about things that we need to solve here. I would invite everybody to start going to the Fallbrook planning group meetings and tune in. There's a lot going on there. There's going to be.
Could you tell us the
third? You can go on their website, Fallbrook Planning Group. 2 big town hall meetings are coming here. One of them is on homelessness, and the second one is going to be related to the countywide effort for affordable housing. And those are gonna be very lively meetings, very lively meetings. And so, just wanted to tell you a little bit about the big picture things that are going on, and I would invite those who were there with me if you have anything else to add.
I do have one comment if I may.
Please, Roger.
Twice when Supervisor Desmond was speaking and we were talking about this unit being built over here, he said, it's a done deal.
He did say
He did
that.
Twice.
I know.
And I thought,
For
well,
the-
now that really is exciting.
Yeah, for the 40 unit,
Right.
yeah, that is exciting. Good catch. Okay, so thank you, Chair.
Okay. Is there any other comments with regard to, what our Director Jeffries just shared with us?
Planning group meets on the third Monday
Thank you.
at 7 PM.
And you can attend by Zoom. And Terry, anything that's bubbling for us is bubbling for you when the county is involved. So it would be highly relevant for Bonzo folks. They have their own planning group and I know that,
We
but
do.
we're all working together.
Right. Okay, hearing any, that there is no further comments, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, at this point in time. So I thank you very much for your attendance and I appreciate your being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
I think we should have a
Good job.
billboard that says